Proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids! All right!
Yum, 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 yum.
Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Well, welcome back to the lunch break on RNCN. I hope everybody is fully awake from Thanksgiving. You've had a whole weekend to recover. You ought to be at least. It is very nice to be back in studio. We had a couple of days off, so got our batteries recharged, and we're ready to finish out the rest of the year. I am Matt. I'm your host for the lunch break today here on Real News Communications Network. In studio with me is Anna and Christina. Welcome back from the booth.
Yay,
nice to have you in studio. In the booth is Zach.
It
Zach,
is so cold in here. My
is it?
God.
Is it cold in there?
Sir, you are.
You're wearing like a million layers. I noticed. Like,
It's not actually cold. I'm just cold. I
You
don't
might
know
wanna
if
go
it's
to
the
the
weather
doctor.
or
I don't
what. Yeah, maybe. I should consider that.
yeah, you're wearing like an overcoat and.
4 layers in here. Yeah, it's good.
So there was someone that worked in this building at one point who would wear. I'm not kidding. Like a wool jacket. In the summer. You know who I'm talking about, Zach. Well, we'll talk
No, I
about it later.
don't. Who are you talking about?
Name drop.
Tell the world.
So he would wear like a wool coat, and it would be 80 degrees outside. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is not that situation. It is actually cold outside.
It is
but-
actually chilly, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have like, and I'm doing kind of visual stuff. So if you're listening to this, you gotta go in and go to the video part of it.
Yeah.
Like, this is a smart building. Remember, the smart building is always like a million more degrees different
Right.
than outside. So you have to dress for the building temperature, not the outside
Right, you have
temperature.
to get here and then
Yes.
change it.
And then
outfit.
add on or take off is insane.
Also in studio with us is Jason Kendall, who, among other things, or among many things, you are a bit of a Renaissance man from talking to you. You've sold real estate. You've done all sorts of stuff. You've worked in restaurants. But you classify yourself as an actor and also the director of programs for the East Dallas Rotary Club, which we will touch on both of those. But I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here with you guys.
So let's talk about. I don't want to say the boring subject first, but we have a movie to talk about here later. But let's talk about Rotary a little bit. You got involved, you said, in the East Dallas Rotary Club. You're past president. You saw a flyer and said, "I want to see what this is about." And
hold on. What's going on with Matt's camera?
it's moving itself.
Just took a turn on the stream. Here we go. Little live production.
It's that ghost again.
Definitely the other way.
Oh, that
There you
was
go. There you go.
me. I'm
That's it.
sorry. I was
There you
pulling a
go.
cable, and that happened.
wild.
No, it looks
All
good.
professionals
All
here.
right, got it.
So what were you doing at the time when you saw the Rotary thing?
You know, in my spare time, I was trying to figure out a way to give back. You know, I mean, there's got to be something better than, just playing golf and, going to happy hours and this and that. And
Does there have to be something
I
better?
don't know.
No, that doesn't.
But I just thought, it would be neat to meet other people in the community, like-minded people that just want to do service. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, come to the Rotary meeting. We're going to have a great speaker, and it's a breakfast, and it was at the Park Cities Club. It's called the Preston Center Rotary. I went there. They meet every Wednesday at 7 a.m. It's a little early for this actor right here. Normally we're just winding down about then, and so.
Are you more of a night creature?
Yes, unconventional. I mean, and it's kind of a sign of the times. We need flexible hours, and we see so many different occupations nowadays where it calls for that. It's not a 9-to-5 world anymore.
No, not at all.
And so, but I saw the thing, a lunch club for Rotary East Dallas. Well, I've been in East Dallas since 2003. So after going to one Rotary meeting, I mustered up the gumption to just walk in on my own. I took a buddy with me, and we just went in and had lunch with them one day, and I've been going to lunch with them every week since.
So I'll just say in a sentence or two, tell me what, for people who are unfamiliar with Rotary, what is their main purpose? What are they trying, how are they trying to serve the community, or how do they serve the community?
Rotary is committed to ending polio. And we've gone from 250,000 cases of polio a year to this year, I think there've only been 2 reported, and they were in Afghanistan. So they have almost eradicated polio from the face of the earth. When they do that, the headline will be, "Thank you, Rotary." But that's just one of the ways that they give. It is men and women of the community coming together to serve others. And our motto is service above self. And what we do is, little old Jason Kendall from White Rock Lake area of Dallas may not be able to affect that much change. But joining together with others and from all different classifications, occupations, different football teams we root for sure. But at the end of the day, all of us working together can achieve something great. And some of the things I've done when I was president of the Rotary was provide school uniforms for homeless Dallas school children.
Oh, wow.
Just one of the neat things we get to do. Every year we do a backpack drive where we, homeless students or students that are economically challenged, we help them with school supplies. We help teachers with their supplies for DISD, and we do that all over in East Dallas. Other things, we just did a toffee fundraiser where we made toffee, we're going to sell. And so, we're just always looking through our speakers. We're going to have people come in and talk to us, tell us what they need, and then we work to get that for them.
So that's I guess that's another part of it, which I know from this side of the business is you have people come in and speak regularly. So even if you're a member, you may get something out of that speech that you were not expecting, or something that could help you in life or business or whatever.
It's priceless. I mean, just to be able to stay up with current events, keep your finger on the pulse of the community. We talk to people from City Hall. We talk to people from Fair Park. We talk to people from the water department. I mean, just random stuff. When they widened LBJ, someone came and talked to us about that from that project. Now there's a bullet train from Dallas to Houston. We've had several speakers come expound on that. But at the end of the day, I felt like, wow, I shook a lot of hands. We start every meeting with a prayer and a pledge, and it's just kind of a feel-good thing. It just makes me feel like I'm part of the community. Yeah. And me being there as an actor is a whole other classification that they didn't see coming. And now I swear they'll all tell you they think that there should be an actor in every Rotary club.
Wow. Okay.
So it's high praise.
You've affected some change. And you used the term working actor, which I know is a very elusive term for a lot of people in the acting business. Usually it's I'm a waiter and an actor.
Part-time / this and this.
Is that what you consider yourself? Do you feel like you make a pretty good living off of your acting, or do you supplement it otherwise? Or
there have been years that are thinner than others. When I don't do that, I just sink my teeth into something else. But yeah, I just find that right now acting is really good in Texas. Whether you're into commercials or film or theater, I mean, theater is taking off.
Yeah.
There's so many theaters here locally. You'd be surprised how big the community is. It's really there's probably 1,000 working actors in Dallas and Fort Worth, and people come up from Austin and audition, and we go down there.
Especially if you expand that definition to other performing arts, such as stand-up comedy or improv or something like that.
Growing, all of that is growing like crazy as well.
It's a good time to be interested in getting yourself up on stage or getting yourself in front of a camera in Texas, which I hopefully can touch on a little bit later. But what you're here for is this, which is a movie called Cherokee Creek. And Zach, I think we have a trailer that should be loaded
we
into.
do, yeah.
Let's roll that trailer now and let everybody see just what we're dealing with here.
Beautiful bean footage. Yeah, here we go.
Please.
You did take a look at all that information I sent you and study all those pictures, right?
Of course I did.
Good, because there was ton of important information in there, and if you don't know it, you're gonna get us both killed. He's out there. Oh,
This spot is actually the first spot that they ever saw a Bigfoot in North America back in like the 1800s, I think.
What is that?
All right.
All right.
When one of my coworkers said, "Hey, there's a guy that wants to come on who did a Bigfoot movie," I was like, "Yeah, let's."
Yeah, right.
Matt needed to take a moment. He started weeping. He's like, "It's now happening." No, he didn't. I'm sorry.
I haven't really talked about it much here on this show, but folks who have spent any time with me outside of the show know that one of my favorite topics is the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. I love talking about it. But you said something that was really impressive, which this movie, you've had a couple of premiere. You've premiered down in Austin. You've done a premiere in Weatherford, and it's going to be available soon on demand. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you said it's a great time to be an actor in Texas. Every single person involved in this movie is from Texas. Is that right?
All local yokels, all talent
Awesome.
right here, from the guy helping with the lights to makeup. Our special effects on the Bigfoot was really cool. I mean, you won't see a Hollywood film. It looks like a multi-million-dollar film, but we did it ourselves right here, all independent, made by Texans.
I really, and you shot it in Melissa, just north of here in Collin County. I think that's, like we discussed, I think it's heartening to be able to see a production be able to pull itself together and say, we're going to stick to Texas. And it's not the easiest thing to shoot a movie in Texas. I mean, they're not as welcoming as certainly out on the West Coast or places like Atlanta or something like that, where they really do cater to the film business. I mean,
That's
in
right.
Texas, you're almost pulling teeth to be able to make something here.
It is. You have to play by their rules. And, LA so often has rules that we just can't abide by. I mean, if you want to get seen, you want to be showcase your talent, your work, then you're going to have to just do it yourself and put it out there, because a lot of times they want an LA name attached to it, or, there are certain stipulations. Texas has a ginormous pool of talent, and it just keeps coming. Our high schools have excellent drama departments. Our colleges send the best Broadway talent off to Broadway, and just look at the stars. Some of the A-list stars, over half of them were born and raised right here in North Texas. So I would say, to everyone who's considering it, it's not mom and pop. It's nothing to discourage your kid from, if that's his chosen career path, go ahead and explore it, because there's plenty of agents, there's plenty of talent, plenty of work out there. Just you got to go to the workshops, you got to put in the hours, and you got to pay your dues, but it all pays off eventually. I think we're going to see Texas just keep growing in that direction.
What is a piece of advice you'd give to someone like that? The 17-year-old right now who's in theater class and would love to be able to stay around home, or just loves Texas and wants to work here. Is there a path forward? Is it commercial work? Is it theater work? Is it, or just find your foot in and do whatever you can to keep pressing forward?
Matt, I think it all starts with acting class and education. And I think that if they want to pursue a degree in theater arts like I did from the University of Texas at Arlington, or if they want to just get into a local film acting class, which they offer here, there are several really good instructors, then they'll learn really fast how much work it is. And they'll have to decide if they want to put in that level of work, because that's what it takes to be successful in anything, but especially in show business. I mean, you just have to be ready for anything. There are sacrifices to make, with your family and your hours and this and that. But the end result, like Cherokee Creek, when it comes back around and you go to that red carpet and you have that moment and it just all pays off, and then you start getting good reviews, and you know, you end up sitting here talking about it. You know, it's really a great feeling. It's a feeling of accomplishment. It's not so much about the money, or, you know, it's really not. It's more about just that self-fulfillment of saying, this is a milestone moment. You know, I've made a movie now. 100 years from now, we'll all be gone, but people will still be watching this movie. It'll still be around. So that's kind of, that's, you know, but don't give up. Just keep working, go to acting class, find out, study. You know, the more you know about a subject, I think, it just breeds success.
I mean, Christina, I'm sure there was a point of time when you were pursuing your comedy career where you were like, this is a lot more work than I was than I thought.
Do you see me nodding my head the entire time?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yes.
Yeah. And is there anything to prepare you for that, or do you just people tell you that and it goes in one ear and out the other and say, I'm gonna be the one that you know, it's gonna come easy to me, or I'm gonna figure it out, and then you get there and you realize, oh no, people weren't lying. Like there is a lot of work to be done here.
You know, honestly, you learn from your peers. You learn from everyone else that's also in the industry that it does take a lot, and you're going to get a million no's before you get that one yes. And it makes that one yes so much sweeter. It really does. But you have to be able to shake those no's off your back, not give up, and keep moving forward.
Who remembers their first job interview, or, you know, their job interview for this job or whatever? Well, actors go on a job interview every day. It's called an audition. And so if you're not prepared for that, you know, you have to be able to handle that rejection too. Yes. You know, you might go on 99 auditions and book maybe 3, you know.
Or none.
Or none, yeah.
And just keep working at it, yeah.
And then you just kind of reevaluate and say, well, what can I do? Meet with your agent. I mean, you know, tweak certain things here and there, and give yourself, reinvent yourself, or have a fresh start. I mean, look at the actors that have done that all throughout time. And we see,
there's people that only started their careers on their 40s or 50s.
That's right.
So
it's never too late. It's never too late. It really isn't.
I suppose the proverbial 800-pound gorilla in the room is a Sasquatch. I'm really curious about how you got involved in this. That's we would like to refer to him as the North American wood ape. The wood ape, yes, I'm very familiar with that term. So you know the terminology. I mean, when we chatted a little bit, and you said I've gotten into this. For that, I apologize to you. I'm sorry you had to get involved with all this. What are your, after making this movie? What are your thoughts on Bigfoot?
You know, Bigfoot is as American as apple pie and baseball. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this. We just had Thanksgiving. Bigfoot was at the first Thanksgiving. There are photos to show this.
Photos.
Well, maybe they're more like renderings.
We're looking for those right now.
Go ahead.
Please dig those up.
Yeah, I think you'll find. Just Google it.
Sure.
Yeah, they'll be there. But yeah, you had, you know, the Native Americans and the Pilgrims and Sasquatch all right there. Now,
Serving
Bigfoot
food?
did not eat turkey because he's a vegan. So that is one of the things I learned working on the film. Bigfoot's a vegetarian. However, he is still an animal, and what do animals like to do? Mark their territory. And what do they not like is when humans come in and mark their territory. And this causes problems for Bigfoot. And this is kind of the base for our story.
I was going to say, judging from the trailer, it looks like there's a lot of Bigfoot on human action in terms of violence, I suppose. You described it to me as sort of a horror comedy. I mean, obviously, the pinnacle of that for me is like in Evil Dead 2. You know, I look at that and I think this is what I'm looking. Is that what you're
very similar? Yeah. I would describe it as Friday the 13th meets Harry and the Hendersons. It's definitely funny. It's not what you think. I mean, I think it plays to that Frightmare crowd or that gore, you know, but it also plays to the Gen X, that 80s style horror comedy that we all grew up with. It's just a fun movie. I mean, it's well written. That's what attracted me to the project. Todd Jenkins, remember that name, because this guy's going places. He wrote it, directed it, starred in it. He co-produced it with Billy Blair, who's a local actor, very well known. You can check all of us out on IMDb. and you can learn about the film and who's in it, and it's all Texas talent, like we said. But yeah, when I read the script, I immediately wanted to be with the project. I was like, yes, I'm on board.
Great. Well, before we let you go, I do want to ask you one final Bigfoot question. You know the wood ape terminology. You've seen the stuff. I'm sure you've seen the famous footage and all of that. Is there any... where do you sit on that percentage-wise, real or fake? What's the most compelling thing that you've seen?
100% believer. In fact, we heard several sounds, and there were some things we couldn't explain while we were on set. This was filmed. We would start filming about 10 p.m. and go till 6 a.m. till sunup.
Wow.
This would be done about this time of year. We started after Thanksgiving and did it through the end of January. So we were in the woods in Melissa, Texas. It's 29 degrees, wind chill, even worse, huddled around a fire, telling these stories about, UFOs or, just ghosts in our house or in our workplace and things like that. And then suddenly we would hear a rustling out. And it wasn't coyotes, and it wasn't, it was something big moving around out there. And, I'm a believer. I mean, even before the Bigfoot movie, I was on board. I was like, yeah, well, Bigfoot, he's there. He's just elusive, When he wants to reveal himself, he will.
You'll see him.
Yeah.
Tell us about how to find the movie. Are you doing any more things locally?
We have had the Angelica. Our premiere was at the Angelica. It sold out. We've had some great reviews. We did another screening at the Angelica that sold out. We did Film Alley in Weatherford, Texas, which is a really cool new movie theater in Weatherford. And we just for Halloween, we were in Austin at the Galaxy Theater and had a really kick-ass time down there, just doing the Austin thing and, showcasing what we had. Some of the actors are from Austin, and but this will be released on full VOD format. So iTunes, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all that good stuff that you like to stream, you'll be able to get it this Christmas, or you could just order the DVD. It makes an excellent stocking stuffer.
And to find more, I have a website here, facebook.com/Cherokee Creek Movie, and you're also on Instagram at Cherokee Creek Movie. So go find out more information there. If you're interested in Rotary, how do people find the East Dallas Rotary or just Rotary in general?
We meet every Tuesday from 11:45 to 1 o'clock at Seasons 52 in North Park. So come by, have lunch with us, see what we're all about. Or there's a Rotary Club within miles of your house, I guarantee it. They're not only all over the United States, they're all over the world. Can't name a country where there isn't a Rotary Club. You just walk in, there'll be a Rotary Club. Seek them out. It's a great way to shake hands with community leaders and just to find out what's going on in your community and ways that you can help in your own little way that turns into a big way of helping.
Great. Jason, Kendall, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We've kept you for far too long, so we'll let you get back to your life.
Awesome.
And back out hunting Bigfoot. Are you going on any expeditions or anything like that? Go up to Oklahoma and search for the wood ape?
Yeah, we call them Sasquatch up there. And a lot of people don't realize, but there are whole families of big feet, as we like to call them. So yeah, you never know. We might do another search, but they're really easy to find. If you're not watching what you're doing out in the woods, they may find you.
Exactly.
So
well, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you for coming on the lunch break. We will be back in just a minute to tell you about when your Thanksgiving leftovers are going to kill you. That's coming up here on RNCN. Stick around. I've got music for everybody. Eventually. There it is.
There it is.
That's what I like. All right, we'll be right back on the lunch break. Stick around. Welcome back to the lunch break on RNC, and many thanks to Jason Kendall for coming in. Again, Cherokee Creek. I like that he threw out the wood ape terminology that is very popular nowadays.
Would not have gotten that right in a round of bar trivia. Would not have guessed
Yeah.
wood ape. Yeah.
That makes us too, for
But
sure.
now we know.
Yeah,
now we
you
know.
live and learn.
Yes, that is the group of people who consider Bigfoot to be a living, breathing ape-like creature. Now I'm going to say there's a lot of different striations in the Bigfoot community about what they think it actually is, but for those that think it's an actual creature living out in the wilderness, they call it the wood ape. I guess to give it a little bit more scientific terminology
Right,
or something
exactly,
like that.
to make it more scientific so that everyone's like, it's a
not
creature.
mythical. It's just an
true.
ape species, right? So
I do shout out really fast. I just want to shout out Olivia Sabini. I saw that you were in the movie, and I'm quite excited to watch it. So she's an amazing local actress, very talented.
That's so cool. And I mean, I heard y'all chatting out in the lobby earlier, and what he said about there being both good and bad, I think, for actors, but it's a small community, right? So like there's room to break in, but like you knew a lot of the same people, and I think it's a nice thing that that networking, if you get in, like somebody's gonna be making a movie over here, or somebody's gonna be hosting a show over here, or doing a theater or something like that. So I think it's really cool how the networking can work in that community, especially in Texas where you need it.
Oh yeah, it's so true, and you do need it in Texas because a lot of funding was cut by the government in Austin, our local government. So we don't have a lot of things coming in. So for these local talented directors, producers, even just crew to be able to get together and to make something that's local and to make it happen, even though we don't have the funding coming in, it's amazing. And there's so many talented people that I have met over the past 6 years that I've been doing this. And, it's just nice to see it all come together.
I hope it gets better as time goes on. I'd love to see Texas and North Texas. I was saying, Austin is its own little bubble. I mean, they do their own thing kind of down there. But, but outside of that, there's a whole lot of Texas that's really not being utilized, I think, in the film space. So I think,
and even in Dallas itself, I think it was last year that was selected like the third city where people spend most money or invest most money in culture. So nationwide, third.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Huge, yeah.
So
there's
that's great
support
news
out there for
yeah,
people
yeah,
that want to get into this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies moving from California to Dallas, they feel the need to invest in local talent and local organizations and just people. I guess they just feel like it. I guess this is kind of like a domino effect. If companies from California are moving to Texas, not only the companies but the employees are also looking to find cultural events, right? And they want to invest because that's what they were doing back there. So they just want to move in. Then, well, if nothing is happening, then I'm going to do my own thing and start it. So
I think people don't realize necessarily how much is out there for folks that are interested in this. And maybe you're not going to be the next big Hollywood star, but if you're interested in acting or if you're interested in music or something like that, I mean, I've thought many times about looking for like local community orchestras or something like that, so I could play, so I could continue to play if I wanted to. And I'm sure the same exists for theaters and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, there's a lot out there for you to keep your chops up or just to get that energy out.
Olivia and I performed together, like 2 or 3 years, about 3 years ago. And we've been in multiple plays together. And to see her grow from just an actress at a community theater to now her doing this, she's starred in like Murder Made Me Famous, all these other things. It's possible for anyone to. Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of also can happen, your food can make you sick. I'm sure.
Beautiful.
Nice
segue.
segue.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the king of segues. If that didn't. So Thanksgiving was last Thursday. I don't know about you guys, but I still have. If we ate
leftovers.
on Thanksgiving, we still have leftovers stuff.
Same here.
We really haven't dug into them that much because we had other leftovers that we needed to get to first. It got in line, it got in the queue, but it was
priority within leftovers.
Right, exactly. So I was curious about how long we actually have, because we've got some turkey, we've got stuffing, we've got mashed potatoes and stuff like that, and we're getting down to it. Well, foodsafety.gov has put out a guide to consuming leftover Thanksgiving food. Of course, some of this stuff is already passed. If you haven't done some of this, if you didn't get it in the fridge within a couple of hours, it's probably not good to eat. So if you did find yourself not getting your Thanksgiving food and it's still there, or not getting it refrigerated within a couple of hours, you probably just should go ahead and throw it away. But that doesn't mean it's going to be good forever. And they say pretty much your deadline for your turkey and all of the sides is Tuesday the 27th, so tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Really?
Is your deadline for eating your Thanksgiving food while it is still safe. Obviously, you could eat it afterwards, but we're on the clock now. You know,
We're on the clock.
by tomorrow. Do you have a lot of leftovers?
Well, first off, we didn't celebrate Thanksgiving in our place.
Oh, I meant to ask you. Like, this
Yes.
was your third American Thanksgiving. How was it?
So we kind of like sandwiched Thanksgiving between priming the walls of our bathroom. So we're renovating. So it was fascinating and a blessing to actually have other people kind of inviting us to their place. So what we did was we worked in the house, then hopped on the car, drove to a friend's house, had Thanksgiving. By the way, it was awesome because we had the French au pair, the babysitter from my friend who's French, and her friend who's also French. And then we had, I think we were like 10 people or something, and 4 of them were French. So it was a half English, half translation moment. And then sometimes it's like, oh, what's this? One of them was vegetarian. So someone would be like, oh, what is this? And then someone would say, oh, what's the name of it in French? And kind of like having that half moment. So that was great.
Did they bring some French food? Did people bring?
No,
like,
they
French
were
fries.
Yeah, exactly. French fries.
No, they did not. Remember, we do not celebrate Thanksgiving anywhere else but the U.S., so we just go and appreciate the food that we don't have
You went
here.
the traditional route.
So we just brought a bottle of wine. It wasn't French wine, so that was our contribution. But yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. Ate a lot. Tried to pace myself because I was like, I got to kind of like roll up something and down, so I don't want to have too much food like moving. But it was really good. I did an American thing. I overate.
There you go.
Even though I
There you go. I'm proud of you.
So you should do.
Christina,
Yeah.
you were out of town, right? You were.
I was.
Were you
I
in
was
Vegas?
in Vegas.
You have some leftover money, but you don't have any.
I have leftover money, and yes, I actually ate at a Vegas buffet for Thanksgiving.
Did they
And
have the trimmings? They went the whole 9 yards.
They had green bean casserole, sweet potato mash, regular potato mash, turkey, ham, any type of meat that you wanted. It was amazing.
That's
you know,
awesome.
You know, those Vegas buffets can get pretty pricey. What's Thanksgiving buffet?
I wouldn't know.
Vegas.
I wouldn't know because
No?
I gambled so much that we got all of our buffets for free.
there it is.
So.
Wow.
That's why you lost track and your memory's hazy because of all the gambling. That's why, sure.
So was it something specific like Vegas themed in the food? I don't know, like some kind of like gambling sticks, like I don't know, anything. Some coins. I don't know, something funny shaped.
No,
Food?
it's just lots. Every
They don't
type
have
of
lots
food
of
you
it,
can think
yeah.
of: sushi, pizza, Chinese, American. I can't even think Italian. All of the
wow.
foods. I did not see a lot of French food though.
Unfortunately, there's an untapped market
They
there.
got that big Eiffel Tower thing right across
Yes,
from where
they
you
do.
stayed, right?
That is
you
true.
were in the
That
Bellagio.
I was at the Cosmopolitan, which is right next door to the Bellagio.
Yeah, big fountains, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I watched
Oh.
them so much. I've told
Christina,
Anna.
Christina could do a PowerPoint presentation with her photos of the fountains.
Yes, I have more pictures of the fountains than I do my family from this trip. So
Well, you can get a picture of your family later, right? You
course.
can only get the fountains in one place.
Exactly. My parents were very scared, and I think they want to do a fountain intervention with me because I was that obsessed.
Zach, you did Thanksgiving down in Houston. Did you bring did you bring any leftovers up, or did they all stay down there?
Actually, I didn't bring any leftovers, which sounds crazy, but we did it pretty small, very candid, and man, I make it my mission, my duty, my responsibility. After Thanksgiving, all I'm eating is Thanksgiving leftovers. Like, just running the race. Like, whatever is left in the kitchen, once you run out of this, you move on to that.
Yeah.
And did some damage over the couple days in between. So, didn't bring any home.
When it comes to the leftover game, do you make a whole new plate, or do you go like the turkey sandwich with some stuffing on it? Like,
It's all about
do
the
you
sandwich.
do the remix, generation remix?
It's all about the sandwich. And my mom made a smart move this year. She got these pretzel rolls from Costco. You cut those open, so it was like a pretzel turkey sandwich. It was fantastic.
I'm a fan of that.
Strongly encouraged.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring us pretzel turkey sandwiches?
Because I ate
today?
it all. There was none left.
There's a Costco nearby. Christine.
Did anybody ask
Awesome.
Matt? Did I miss that? Matt, what did you do?
Oh no! I went out to the country, went out to Springtown, brought all the dogs with me. They ran around. I played a little cornhole. Won that because I'm a cornhole champion.
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly, yeah. It's a natural skill that I was born with. Flew the drone around a little bit. I had a good time out in the. It was beautiful weather. It was perfect. And,
Yeah, that was really nice. It was really warm as well.
Yeah. So I just had a good time. My mom and dad were in, and we just ate and had a good time. But I do have the leftovers that I need to get on top of. I guess we'll do that tonight, I suppose.
You only got one day. I wonder how much of that contributes to the idea that Thanksgiving food sits out for a few hours. Right? Because it's not like normal leftovers. Like, you don't just make it and immediately put it in Tupperware. It, like, hangs out on the counter for a little while at buffet or wherever
Yeah, you
got
just
it.
keep eating throughout the day, right? Like, that's what it how it works.
I wonder how that taints that.
It probably does. I mean, and they do point out that if you have any, I mean, obviously food waste is a terrible thing, but if you have any question about it, or if it smells a little weird, don't soldier ahead. Just go ahead and
ridiculous
and get rid of it.
What an absurd mentality.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Just power that thing. I guess we'll find out if I come back tomorrow with
starving kids in China.
Right, it's my duty to eat my leftover turkey because of this.
China, that's funny. You say that. In Portugal, that's not what people say.
Wait, what do they say?
My grandma would say there's starving kids in Africa.
Oh, we say that.
We say Africa,
yeah,
too.
we say that too.
Well,
yeah.
my parents used to say China back in the day. That was like the 70s and the 80s. That was the hot one, right?
Yeah, not really now, right? Like, China is one of the wealthiest countries these days.
That's true.
Namely, A Christmas Story. I think that's the line. They're starving kids in China. Not anymore. Not in China.
When we come back here on the lunch break, we have the greatest ATM in the world, and it was in Harris County. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, shout out. Yeah, my hometown.
Shout out Houston, but you could have had a windfall. You didn't have to go to Vegas to come away with hundreds of dollars. We'll tell you about the wonderful ATM and a few other things coming up on the lunch break. Yeah, we still have a little time. Do we have a show coming in at 1 o'clock, Zach?
No, we don't actually.
Okay, so we're not up against it.
That didn't work out, so yeah.
Never mind then. We can go as long as we want. All right, we'll be back here on the lunch break on RNCN. Stick around. Welcome back to the lunch break.
Sorry, I was having a bit of a hard time.
I saw you
pressing
banging on
that
the thing, and I was like, I guess I'll start talking now. Welcome back. Glad to have you. We have a story here out of Harris County. Now, this happened over last night, so I guess you couldn't have taken advantage of this, Zach.
That's what you think.
There was a Bank of America ATM. It doesn't say where. In Harris County, although that's more or less.
For intentional reasons. Wink, wink.
Right, exactly. But this ATM was distributing for a small amount of time, late Sunday night and on into this morning, $100 bills instead of 20s. So basically, think of it, you say, I want $100 out. It normally would shoot you out 5 20s and you're on your way.
You know, I don't even know how the story resolves. I've already got a hot take, but keep going. I want to hear the end. Yeah.
Instead, this ATM would give you, $500 bills. So basically, you're multiplying your money by 5 if you go that way. It happened. This just says it went from late Sunday night into early Monday morning, but it was long enough for the word to get out on social media, and a line had formed for people waiting to get their turn at the ATM, right? They're going to go in and get their cash.
Yeah.
Deputies found out about it. They showed up, and the crowd dispersed. Everybody ran away. I don't know. I'm curious. What is your hot take about the gift-giving ATM?
The primary question is, how are they recovering this, right? Like, the bills have serial numbers, and all of that's tied to an account. I'm sure you can just look up who stuck their card in, and it's like, well, you got too much money, come back here, or we'll take it out of your account, because I'm sure Bank of America can roll that way.
Banks,
and they can resolve
banks are not
this.
in the business of just giving you gifts.
No,
when it comes to
no.
money. It kind of doesn't work that way.
No. My hot take is, and I'd rather hear what you all have to hear first, but now that we're here it is. Just like when a vending machine spits out 2 Cokes, my vote is you keep it. Like, that's on Bank of America. That's tough that your machine didn't work, but like Coca-Cola didn't call you up and they're like, hey, you got 2 Sprites for the price of 1. You're going to have to bring those back.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I don't know. Should that be free game? Is that a crazy policy to have? Think how much people would appreciate Bank of America for it. How kind of them. After Thanksgiving, just throwing out hundies, it's great.
My heart wants to agree with you. Yeah. My heart does agree with you. In fact, I would love it if because bank errors happen all the time. They'll give you too much money when you go into a teller sometimes, or they'll accidentally add a 0 or something to a check that you deposited, and it'll. Whatever, it happens often.
That happened to you? Because it hasn't happened to me.
It hasn't happened to me,
unfortunately.
No, please.
But I hear stories of it happening. It hasn't happened to me at all.
Is it like the cousin of a cousin of a cousin, or is it like actually someone you know?
No, like news stories. Like they'll say,
okay.
There was a big glitch or something like that, or crazy. But typically in all of those situations, the person who gets the money, one, you usually know about it, and you know.
Oh yeah, you bet.
If I deposited a $100 check and it came back with I got a $1,000 deposit in my account, I know something's up, right? I'm not thinking like, well, I guess there's $900 that I wasn't aware of. I know that something messed up. So it seems to be I think in every case that I've ever heard is that the person has to pay the money back. Even if you've gone and spent it, you should have known that's not your money to spend. So I would love it if it were just the case where if they made a mistake, it's on you. If a store does a pricing error, more often than not, they'll give it to you.
Right.
if you come and ring it up for that price. But I understand why not. I guess I understand why it doesn't work that way. But
I would love a series of like 60-minute style interviews, and local news down in Houston is going to have to get on the ball for this to work out. But with people who are in that line, if they could somehow wrangle them together and just ask them like, what was your plan? How far did you think you were going to get with that money before Bank of America said, yeah, your card pulled this out. We know it's you. Like, you have to bring that back.
Yeah,
that's all in a computer. That's all tracked.
But I guess that's people not understanding technology, right? I think. Because, they have a record of which card was put when. They have the time frame of when the machine spent all that money. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. But I guess if you don't understand how science works, how technology works, they have cameras, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you're going to keep the money.
No.
It's like, oh my God, everybody is like, that's when I think that mob mentality, like, let's go. Can you think for a second? Come on, y'all.
But like, what if they slip through the cracks? What's so wrong about just not saying anything at all and just seeing how it plays out? Maybe you get $500 extra, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
Like you go, maybe you don't spend that money right away, but you go and you pull it out and just say, all right, I'm going to give this a few weeks.
Right.
I'm going to see if they contact me, and if not, maybe I get away with this. Maybe I get away with it.
Bank. Most likely than not, they will email you like, hey, we've been made aware that there was an issue with one of our ATMs, and this and this happened. So this is the equivalent of the money you would draw by accident. That's the money we're taking from your account.
Right.
Come on.
I would bet we're talking automatic deduction at this point. You got
totally.
30 days to give it back, or we're just taking it out of your account. Overdraft fees.
30 days seems generous.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
2 weeks, a week.
It's Bank of America. They're not
24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you guys were in Harris County, like I wasn't, and you saw this hot deal at your local bank. Would you go get in line? And if you were to, how much would you go for? How much would you try to get? $500, $520s? What's your?
I mean,
Well,
again,
what are you comfortable with there?
again, the knowledge that you're gonna have to pay it back at some point. I
maybe,
would.
You
maybe
bet.
not. There's hope. That's a thing.
But that's you
I mean,
thinking about the consequences.
I would go small on that. I wouldn't pull out my entire account and think
Oh,
I'm going
God.
to multiply my money by
Yeah.
5 here. I would go like give me a 20 and get $100 and then hope that I because that I could easily
That one
repay.
might slip through the cracks,
Right.
at least compared to like the $10,000 that people might be trying to get.
I'm curious to know if they can prove exactly when it started, or if I was the guy that came up the first time it happened. They say, well, I think it was doing it from here to here, but they can't unless they can read which bills came out.
Oh, they can have a pretty strong record of that.
They probably see my face, like on the camera where I pulled out 100.
Gotta wear a ski
Yeah.
mask.
Right, exactly.
I would go for like 200, right? 220s. And then just be standing outside a different Bank of America next morning. I'd like to close my account, please. Like, I'd like to shut it down, move everything to Wells Fargo. What are they really going to hunt you down for? What, $160? A national bank? Like, maybe not. You might make off like a bandit.
You pull out the cash and then you immediately deposit it. That way they don't know where it came from.
Exactly.
And then
That's how
and
you
then
spoof
it
a
can
bank.
pay. And then if they do hit you with the automatic deposit, I'm not giving away free criminal advice here,
No,
but I'm
not
just
at all.
saying, if you were to do that, that might be a way to get
That
around
would
it.
be wild.
You can only, at least with my own account, I know that you can only withdraw $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
So, how much that comes to?
Well, I mean,
it's-
if you're doing 1,020s, like, you're talking a different amount, right? That's not $1,000 in hundreds. Like that's
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure
No, but
out.
it would be 5 times that because 5 to so
Man, we're so good at math.
There's no chance. None of us. We went to radio school. All right.
Right,
Let's make
yeah,
that
Do you
clear.
I'm
see
just
me not saying
calculating right
anything?
now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will actually just be no wait.
back
5
of the
times 1,000? No,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. That would be
5,000.
5,000.
Yeah. I think the math checks out on that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, it does.
But yeah,
if it's
insane.
only for 20s, if it's only making the mistake with 20s, if
It's a
making the
shame.
mistake with-
Is there? I gotta go look and see if there's like a citizen journalist style video out there of somebody in that line who was like on Twitter asking people, "How much are you gonna take out? Like, what's your big
Yes.
plan? Do you think it's gonna last?"
How do you feel if you're the next guy in line whenever the cops show up and you have to bail?
Hey, you didn't do anything. You can be like,
No,
I
you
was
didn't
the
do
one who
anything, but
called in the anonymous tip. That was me. Yeah, I was here to bust all these people.
Yeah, no, you were hanging out seeing the scene, but I'm saying like you were about to get that cash, right? You were
Right.
there,
That's true. How
and you
the-
didn't get to take that chance.
All I want to say is I think it's very weird that Zach keeps saying that he wasn't in Harris County when this happened. And he keeps saying it a lot, so just keep that in
making
mind.
that point very clear that he was not anywhere near this ATM.
I'll be honest. I'm a Wells Fargo guy. I'm not that lucky, but yeah.
But yeah, that's funny.
Speaking of earned windfalls, there was a couple. It doesn't say where this was. This outlet is called Sunny Skies, and I'm not. That seems. Oh, Louisiana. Okay.
Sounds like a rehab facility.
It does, doesn't
Sunny
it?
It's in
Skies.
Louisiana.
It's spelled SKYZ. I don't know what they're trying to pull. I don't know what they're trying to pull here.
Trying to be cool with the kids.
So there were, as with many couples, they waited until the last minute to clean their house before they had Thanksgiving guests coming over. Right?
my God.
This was Thursday. So they waited until the very last minute to get their cleaning done, and so they're cleaning the house. They're going crazy. They're pulling, throwing things aside, and they just happened to find a lottery ticket stacked away in some of the, I guess, probably random papers. And it was from June. And they said, well, we'll check this. And turns out they are a $1.8 million winner of the lottery. So they were doing all their cleaning, and they came across a nearly $2 million jackpot lottery ticket. And they said they don't have any plans to buy anything crazy or go on any big trips. They just want to deposit that big check. That's what they're looking forward to. But what a cool thing. Well, I know we have a lottery ticket sitting somewhere that I think we've got $5 on that I need to cash in, but I don't think I have any $1 million winners out there anywhere.
That's for sure. They'll probably get it made.
You think? Yeah,
I don't
to
know.
do their last
I don't
minute
know.
cleaning.
What
Yeah.
if they find another lottery ticket? I would be cleaning my house for the rest of my life, just in case we
point.
get the second time again.
I guess I'm not when I get a lottery ticket. I'm not a a regular lottery player, so when I get a lottery ticket, it's like I know exactly where that thing is.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
keep it like in an envelope, or I keep it somewhere.
Pristine at eye level.
Right, because I'm like, if it
So
does win,
ridiculous.
I'm not losing it, right? I'm
I
not
guess
just gonna
that's
throw
why
it
you're
into
doing
a
it
pile.
wrong.
I guess so. Yeah, like I just need to buy a bunch and then check a few months later to see if I won anything. When we return, we're going to take one more break here on the lunch break, and I have something else to share, and I don't know what it is.
Oh, the
hold
coffee
on.
story.
Oh, I do have that to share. Yes,
Yeah.
I will tell you my coffee story. I'll also tell you the stupidest umbrella in the world. We'll have both of those coming up here, and we should have pictures of that
Yes.
too. We'll have both of those coming up here on the lunch break on RNCN. Stick around. Welcome back to the lunch break on RNCN. All right, I'm trying to decide which one of these I want to do first. We'll do the umbrella one real quick. So, do you have any
Pro or versus umbrella?
Well, kind of. Like, are umbrellas annoying to you, or are they sort of a necessity, or do you get an umbrella and think, "Gosh, I wish there were a better way to do this"?
I don't use umbrellas. It's a pain in the butt for me. Like, I just walk out and
Do you just
get
throw?
rained
Do
on.
you try to like throw a jacket over? You just take
Just
whatever
water.
comes.
I'll dry.
Even in a torrential downpour, you're like, I'm just gonna soldier through and.
Either that or I just stay in my house.
That's a good idea.
Cancel all my plans.
Is somebody who I'm gonna guess dyes their hair? That's just a little bit of a surprise for me. That you're
That
just
is a
like,
very good
it's
Are you
fine."
saying that's not natural?
Okay. It's no, actually, it would. I haven't had a problem with rain yet with this hair. That would probably be a disaster because my clothes would end up being pink. Like every time my hair gets wet, it's pink water that comes
Wait,
out
really?
of it. Honestly, yes.
That still happens?
Oh yeah, because I'm constantly redyeing it with a color wash shampoo, and so
okay.
my pillowcases are pink, stained pink. My towels are stained pink. I like the color pink, so it doesn't matter.
It works out great.
Yeah.
You just need. Are your towels pink? Because I would go for that. That way you can't see the stains.
Right, you can't tell.
Right. I have a couple pink towels, but I actually have been liking the fact that I'm turning my white towels into pink. Just more pink, you know.
Dip dye.
Man, you're one bad load of laundry away from a great day.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
I'll be
definitely.
honest. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the difference between a nation that drives everywhere and a nation that drives/walks or uses
no.
public transport. Because if you are walking on a street or if you are from home going to a bus stop, you need an umbrella. There's just
Right.
no chance. I mean, you may wear like a jacket with a hoodie or something, but I mean, I like umbrellas just for the sake of, like that gives you extra protection all around. And if you have like just a jacket, it's just, as someone who wears glasses, my goodness, just getting like all
Right.
those drops in your face and in your glasses, it's just a no-no for me. So
Zach, do you
thumbs
like
up.
umbrellas?
I'm too lazy to have one. I have one in my car that's like a collapsible one that I bought from Walgreens that broke the first time I used it. So
Yeah.
anytime I want to use
Delightful.
one, I have
Shout
to walk
out.
around and like hold it up like for it to actually work for people in video consume doing. It's a whole hassle.
Shout out to Walgreens.
Where do we all land real quick before we get into the? Yeah, all right. Where do we all land on the poncho? Anybody do that? Go poncho weather?
My dog has a poncho.
That's all you have to say.
Of course.
So I don't have a poncho, but I do have a raincoat. Like specifically like the rubbery type raincoat with the hood and everything. I actually kind of like that because I'm out here beating the elements. I don't have an umbrella. I don't need it, but I'm still dry because I'm beating Mother Nature with my little raincoat.
That's right.
And inside I know that I'm all now. I still get water all over my glasses, which is not great. But it does bring up the fact that umbrellas are great, except you have to hold them, right? You lose a hand. So what if I told you that there was a company in Japan that made a hands-free umbrella?
Is it an umbrella helmet?
It's one of those like you put in your head and they kind of like
like the novelty umbrella.
yeah.
That makes me
Is that
happy.
what
Like
you're
a knight's helmet.
I'd wear that.
I would venture to say this is even dumber looking than that. Do you have the picture there of one of them?
Oh yes, just let me get this.
So there you go.
All right,
Wait.
that's good.
So you've got like a poncho hood, right? But then and it goes down to about the neckline, and then you just have a fan-out umbrella that just sits around your, like an old Elizabethan collar or something.
Hey, what's the trick to go to the next slide here? What's the
N.
N. There, that's
Oh,
not
no,
it. That's the intro
P.
again.
We're starting over.
Previous.
Previous.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh God, I didn't notice the.
Oh, it's got little arm straps
Yes,
too.
that's what I was gonna
See
say.
them there too. Okay.
Right, so it can't blow away.
No.
Tell
How
me.
do you put that on?
Go to that next slide.
Head first, arms first.
Look, so there you go. You've got people in that picture that have umbrellas, and then you have this dude who I venture to say does not look any better off than the people who are just holding a regular umbrella, right? Like that dude, how is that a better option?
It's not great.
It keeps your shoulders dry, is what it looks like.
Just keep your shoulders dry.
But the lower parts, I could see being soaked. It doesn't.
I can't imagine that this would catch on, because you just look like a fool having to wear this thing around, and not to mention then you have to also unhook it from yourself whenever you want to take it off.
I want to draw attention to the clear section on the front so you can text and
Right.
walk.
Oh yeah, you can see
through it.
so you
can
don't
see through
fall.
the raindrops.
I mean, look, they
Yeah.
thought of everything, right? As far as a piece of clothing, it's well designed, I suppose.
Not quite. You'll notice this man is a particularly slim individual. Imagine like a big fat 300-pound American wearing one of those.
Right.
That cowboy hoop thing would wrap around your front and back so tight it'd look ridiculous.
And here's the thing about umbrellas. Like, if you get into a tight situation, you can lift your umbrella.
Right.
You can move it to the side or something like that. This, you've just got a ring of personal space around you at all times.
But it doesn't seem like it kind of like goes over his shoulders that much.
Not too much, but enough that, I don't know. I can't.
It's so goofy.
I love that this was what was come up with when the idea of trying to solve the a hands-free umbrella. This is what you get.
What is the problem with ponchos?
None. As far as I can
Ponchos
tell.
are messy.
Right.
And hey, Anna, I think you'd get this one. They're not very environmentally friendly, all right? Because they're people use them and throw them away, and they take a bunch of plastic.
There's reusable ones.
No.
They're
No.
thicker.
Nobody's ever reused a poncho ever.
Yes, they're
that
just thicker material.
It's
Yeah.
raincoat material. That's where you're at.
Like I said, at that point, Christina, you're better off with a poncho,
Yes,
right?
you're better off with a
than
poncho.
the shoulder
It's
umbrella.
It's a weird looking half poncho, is what that is right there. That's
Now
what
that I'm
I
thinking,
love it.
I've seen people
I
wearing
want
these
one
in
of these.
London.
You've seen people wearing something
Yeah.
like this?
No, you haven't.
I have. I
Stop
promise.
that.
Yeah.
Really?
How?
Yes. Central London. I
Really?
just remembered. Yes, and it was an Asian girl.
Okay.
So this is probably very popular in Asia.
I'm surprised you could tell, considering what she was wearing on her face.
You need like a face guard with this thing, right? Like just
Right,
do the
that's
whole,
the next-
go the whole
yeah.
9 yards.
She just seemed like it was, ready for life. That's. She just looked like she was unstoppable. So maybe it gives you kind of like those, like the cowboy boots give you like a new walk and you feel
Yeah.
super powerful. I guess that's what they feel
You're
like.
empowered by your
Your rain,
right, your
rain
portable
punch.
umbrella.
Yeah. Something.
I guess all umbrellas are portable. Your hands-free umbrella. Before we go, I had mentioned in our Slack that I wanted to talk about the worst coffee shop experience that I've ever had.
Ooh.
And this is maybe overselling it a little bit. It's not like I didn't get personally insulted or anything. Not like when I went to go return clothes and they said, "Am I too fat for the clothes?"
Oh God.
This is not, but it's along the same level. So we were in Fort Worth on Friday to check out the Christmas tree in Sundance Square. I highly recommend
nice.
it. It's very pretty this year. They even pumped out fake snow.
Oh wow.
Which was bubbles. I thought it might be ice shavings, but it turned out to just be a bunch of bubbles, but very, very tiny bubbles, so it looked like snow. And down there by the tree, there's a Starbucks. And so we thought, well, we're going to do this upright. It was a little chilly, so we were like, we're going to see the tree, and we're going to...
It's a real good Starbucks location. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah, I spent a fair amount of time in that Starbucks, actually.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see the tree. We get a little hot chocolate or a little coffee. We're just going to, do this thing. And it was packed. It was completely packed. So we were like, all right, I'm just going to look up and find another coffee location. So I won't name the name, but I will say it's within a couple of blocks of this Starbucks. If you were to say perhaps head south head north, rather.
There you go.
If you were to be at Sundance Square and you were to head north a couple of blocks, there might be a coffee shop within that radius.
Sure.
A cool place. It's in an old building, right? It's got a neat look to it. And we walked in. I didn't know what I wanted. I tend to panic when it comes to menus. I just look for the first thing that I recognize, and then I order that when it's a new place. So I'm looking down, and I didn't want just regular coffee. So they had a latte on there, and they had some syrups or whatever. So I ordered just a latte. I'm real basic, right? I ordered just a caramel latte. And he's chatting with me a little bit about it. And I kept looking down, and I asked him about a couple of different things on the menu. And down at the very bottom, he had a cafe au lait, which, if you're not familiar, it's just milk and coffee, really. But it's like
just a latte.
Basically, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio, and usually it's a little bit of a darker roast or something like that. But it's half milk, half coffee. And I said, well, I'll take that. Actually, I don't want a latte. I'll take that because the latte is made with espresso and milk. So I said, I'll take the cafe au lait. And the guy goes, whoa. He looks at me like, well, hold on a second. He's like, it's a pretty big change there, pal. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's a big change. And he's like, are you sure that's what you want? Are you sure you know what you're ordering? I'm like, yeah, I know what it's coffee and milk. Like, what are you talking about? I know exactly. He's like, all right, man, it's just a pretty big difference from what you had. And I just want to make sure you know what you're getting with this. I don't want you to be upset by it. I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, all right, man, I guess I'll put it in. So he goes to put in the order, and I'm like, okay, whatever. That's that rubbed me the wrong way. Megan comes up afterwards, and she didn't want a coffee. She wanted an Italian cream soda. So she said, I just want an Italian cream soda. And he goes, what flavor do you want? And she said, oh, just vanilla. And he goes, well, traditionally, we make these Italian cream sodas with raspberry flavoring. That's the way you really ought to have it. And she says, I don't really like raspberry. I want vanilla. He's like, all right. I mean, if you want an inferior experience, you can get he
did not say inferior.
Basically, he was like, if you want the one that's not as good, you can get the vanilla, but the real way to have it is with the raspberry. And I'm like, who is this dude? Like,
Did he have beard and square glasses and was wearing a beanie?
He had a beard, and I'm sure at some point he wears a beanie. But this guy was the most stereotypical, like the worst possible thing about a mom and pop coffee shop that you could imagine. And so he pulled that number on both of us, and I sat there and I'm like, wait, does the guy think I don't know what this is? Because I asked him about something else that was just like hot milk that they had. I forget what they called it. But
baby chino?
No, it was like leche al vapor or something like that, which is basically just like steamed milk.
Steamed milk,
with nothing in it. Or I guess you could get something in it, but it was like no coffee. So I was asking him about that, and I guess he inferred from that question that I didn't know what a cafe au lait is.
This is fascinating because a cafe au lait is literally, translation, coffee with milk.
Yeah.
That is what it is. And if you go and get it in France and Portugal and Spain, is literally half coffee, half milk. There's no froth. It's literally just hot milk. So, why?
Well, like, why? What do you think?
Why does he think it's such a big difference from a latte?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because it's espresso and coffee. Like,
I guess that's the difference. But
it's just different ratios.
It was different strengths.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. It was the strain. He was like, "Are you sure about?" Like I was ordering. I don't know.
Like an Irish coffee or something.
Right. Yeah. Like something completely wild. But I was.
What did you hold on? What did you start with again? I lost that thread.
A latte, just a regular.
And
latte.
then went to cafe au lait.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not that different.
Which is not. It's not that different. But he seems
like a control freak.
I guess.
Freak barista.
Okay, hold on. Can I offer a lukewarm defense of the douche at the store. All right,
Please.
can I jump in here?
I'd love to hear.
Here it is. You're in Fort Worth, all right, right around Sundance Square. Now, I don't want to take a whole lot of time explaining the caliber of person that comes from Fort Worth, but let's just say there's Fort Worth and here's what I'm getting at. Fort Worth and Dallas, man, they have this little rivalry, and I'm from Houston, so I feel and I'm arguably Houston's the worst of all of them, so I feel like I can really dig into this, but Fort Worth thinks they're better than Dallas, and Dallas thinks they're better than Fort Worth, and that's always the way it goes. But in my experience, Fort Worth is a specific blend of person that really finds themselves to be better than most, in my experience, I should say. And when you have somebody who's like that, maybe an entitled billionaire or a soccer mom who's going to a knockoff Starbucks, right? That's far away from Sundance Square, a couple blocks, you said, north, as it was. You might have somebody who's a little testy. Somebody who's a little irritable, right? Somebody who's a little just, wants to get their way always. And when you get somebody like that who orders something and then decides last second, no, I want this, and then doesn't get exactly what they want, they might be prone to freak out and melt down and scream at some poor coffee shop employee. My point is that maybe this guy has had a couple incidences where he changed an order just like somebody wanted, and then they get it. It's not what they want, and they're like, "Give me this instead. Make it again. Make it. I want to talk to your manager." Some horrible kind of happenstance, and maybe this man thought to himself, "I don't want that to happen again, and I don't want to be victimized for something that's not my fault." And he was just covering his bases.
I'm going to be preemptive here, and
yes, I'm not saying the way he did it was right. I think his language was all wrong. And in the case of Megan, maybe he was just trying to be nice and be like, "Hey, well, here's the way you should do it." But
you do whatever you want to do.
I don't know, but I'm trying to think maybe this guy was genuinely trying to be helpful and just had horrible delivery, which is why he's working in a coffee shop. It's not Starbucks.
It could be. Yeah. I'd be curious to go run another experiment down there. I don't want to go back, but it was good though. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, the place you showed me the place. It looks super hip.
Yeah.
Really nice. They do some latte art and stuff like that, or cappuccino art, or whatever it's called.
And it's in one of the. Fort Worth has a lot of old brick buildings and things like that. And it's in one of those, and it's cool. I think it used to be a boot shop or something like that.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I don't know. But I hung on to that again. I was so mad about it, and looking back, I'm like, well, I guess I shouldn't be that mad about it. But I still was just. I was like, how dare you? Come on. I know what a coffee is. I can figure this out.
It's not quite the same story. I think I might have told it before, but a steakhouse. Did I tell you guys this story? Where a waitress told Christine specifically not to order what she ordered.
What?
Very right. Yeah.
Yeah. We were at a steakhouse a couple Valentines ago, and I ordered a steak, and Christine ordered I don't know, the shrimp scampi or something with noodles and pasta. And the waitress stopped down hard and was like, "Listen, ma'am, I want you to get what you want, but you got to know this is a steakhouse and the pasta is not our bag. It's okay. And if you want it, you can get it, but I would strongly encourage you to go for the steak." And she was so surprised, and she said later impressed that the waitress bothered to tell her, "Do not order what you just tried to order off our menu," that she got the steak and was better for it. But I never forgot that experience, ever. And so you have to wonder, when you're in a service capacity like that, is it worth telling somebody not to get what they're ordering, or just let them get it and move on with their lives, and let the world keep turning?
In that scenario, doesn't seem as
no, she was very nice about it.
Right, as D-baggy as this gentleman was.
Yeah.
That seems generally look, we may be a nice restaurant, but there are certain things that we just can't.
Yeah,
we can't do
a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, kind of listen. Here's the deal. Yeah,
you might be happier. Now, if she were to insist and say, "No, I want this," and the waitress still would not take her order, then I would be like,
"You got a problem." Which
is what kind of happened to me, where I insisted multiple times until he finally was like, "All right, I guess I'm going to put in your cafe au lait." Yeah, I genuinely I like that. I like them saying, "Look, if you." In a nice way, we think you might enjoy this a little better, but I don't know. As long as at the end of the day you just take my order however I want it, then
yeah,
I guess
as long as I'm
happy,
okay. I guess it's all worth it.
Yeah. But it wasn't like he said, "Oh, I don't make very good cafe au laits, or our coffee's not that good. You know, our espresso's much better," or something like that. I guess if he had, I would have been like, "Okay, I guess I'll try that." But yeah, I don't know. Shout out to Fort Worth coffee places.
Wherever that was. I got Google Maps open. I was about to pull it up on the big screen. You got to tell me where this place is after the show, of course. That's fine.
It might be on Houston Street.
Okay. All right. Narrowing it down. Great.
Just saying.
Sure. Maybe.
It might be.
Love this.
It might have a relation to a cowboy name. I'm just going to say that.
Might have been an old boot shop.
Might have been.
Sure.
All right. That's it for us here on the lunch break. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Jason Kendall for coming in and telling us about East Dallas Rotary and also Cherokee Creek, which you can find by searching social media for Cherokee Creek Movie. Look for that in late December on VOD, and look for all of Christina's friends that are in the movie.
Acting friends.
Are you excited to watch this now?
I am super excited. Anything Olivia does, I will watch 100%. And now that I've met him and I know Todd, I will definitely be supporting.
We'll have to do like a screening or something.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on the screens in here. Anna, thank you for coming in. Glad you had a good weekend and a good Thanksgiving.
It was fun.
Good. Zach, thank you for running the show today.
I know, like, we're already well into it, but man, I really dig this track. This new one. This is a
It's
good
good.
one.
Oh, pump that up
it's
a
a good
little
track. Oh. There it is.
Nice little jam there.
Yes.
There we go. Taking you out on some jams for your Monday afternoon. Slow it down a little bit. Get on. Take a lunch. Take a long lunch. And come back on Friday with your crew here on the lunch break on Real News Communications Network. We love you. Have a good day.